KVNU Game Day continues with Aggie Call. Your chance to talk about today's game. Sponsored by Alpine Home Medical, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Les Olson Company, Jurek's Fine Jewelry, My Mattress, Elements Restaurant, Cache Valley Bank, Castelite, Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Cache Valley Ear, Nose and Throat, White Pine Funeral Home, S.E. Needham Jewelers, and LSS Insurance. KVNU Game Day with Al Lewis and John Russell.
The Aggies lose in the Spectrum tonight, 71-69, as Graham Ike made a bank shot with 3.3 seconds to go, and Rylan Jones's last-second three-point shot in desperation did not go. Utah State had the lead as late in the game as 67-65 with 1:35 seconds to go, as Jones drove and again got a basket and a free throw for a three-point play. And then at the other end, Wyoming tied it up with 1:16 to go after the Aggies had forced a missed shot and a turnover before that. And then Wyoming scored again after a Justin Bean miss. Mean did score to tie the game at 69-all with 25 seconds to go, but Wyoming able to run the last shot. In the end, no answer for Maldonado and for Ike for the Utah State Aggies. Their two stars for Wyoming really did step up at big times tonight, John.
Oh, it was tough. Great crowd. Students were in full force. I think everybody, a nice cold night here in Cache Valley. I think all the fans were ready to just let her rip. And like you said, Ike and Maldonado did everything they needed to keep the fans out of the game. And
Jalen Moore, our former Aggie, joins with us. Jalen, again, another one of those games where you're fighting so hard to get the lead, and every time the Aggies had grabbed the lead, they couldn't hang on to it in this game.
Yeah, and it's tough because we kind of touched it on it at the beginning of the game. You know, Wyoming gave the ball to their best players, Maldonado and Ike, and they did what they were supposed to do with it. They were able to convert at the end. Ike made a bank shot at the end over Dorius and gave him the lead, and ended up winning by 2. And it's hard because, like, if you actually go look at the team stats, like you look at our team, and we just played a solid game. Like everything we did was really solid, and you come up short again, which is tough. I liked Rylan's aggressiveness. Idle Rock didn't play. We didn't really expect that. We weren't really sure what was wrong with him, and so Rylan steps up. Sean still plays good, Bean, but then you were getting a lot of production from Ashworth and Horvath, and they just weren't able to do what they usually do this game, and I think that kind of hurt us too. Wyoming played the defense that they do. We only scored 69 points. They said 71. And they just did what they needed to do to come away with the win tonight.
71-69, the final. We missed the last shot at the end of the game after, again, Wyoming did have a 10-point lead in the first half. They led by 7 in the second half. Wyoming led more of the basketball game than Utah State did tonight. But in the end, I have 10 ties, and I have six lead changes going back and forth between the teams. One thing we did not do, though, well, again, and I think teams are baiting us into it a little bit right now, we're not making three-point shots, Jalen.
No, we're not. They shoot 37, 38%. We shoot 23, and we're just shooting a low percentage. And the teams in conference play so far have been living with the percentages that we're shooting from three, and it's been paying off. Like we said, every game's been close. We have the one win at New Mexico. We're 1-3. And so far in all 4 games of conference play so far, we haven't shot that well from 3, and it's hard because me and you always touch on it. So much about basketball is it's related to that 3-point ball and you making it efficiently, and we're not right now. And so we have to get some shooters back. We know we're missing Brock, shoots a high percentage from 3, and so that means we got to get some guys shooting a better percentage. And teams are just letting us kind of shoot the 3 ball because they know that we're not shooting a high percentage right now, and so that's something that we definitely are going to go back, watch some film on. And we know that those shots that we have that are open from 3, we have to be better shooters and stuff like that, and it'll really change the game.
We've turned into a team offensively that is almost, we thought this was a great passing team, and now the only thing we're getting in this conference, what we're having to do is go one-on-one inside with Bairstow and with Bean, and even Rylan Jones tonight had to do that to score the basket.
Yeah, and, it's the preseason, pre-conference, our team was passing the ball. We're getting 19, 20-plus assists. In this game, you look at it, we only have 12. It's just we're not playing the regular ball that we used to, and you do have to go a little bit more one-on-one, and it comes down to where you have to kind of give the other teams that we're playing against credit. They're making us play one-on-one, and they know that if we make our guys do that, they have the best chance of winning, or if they make us shoot threes, contested threes. And that's what a lot of teams are doing. And, Ryland's averaging, I think, around 5-6 assists a game, and the last few games he's gotten 1, 2, 3 assists or so, so they're just not letting him create like he usually does. And they're living with the results that they're getting because those results end up in us being 1-3 so far in conference play.
Hey, Jalen, I kind of want to follow up on that. We're seeing more of a one-on-one type of game. Do you think that has anything to do with the type of game? And I don't want to blame them for it, but Bairstow and Shulga, that they like to play. Is that what happens?
It's hard to say. Here's the thing is, I love the energy and offensive stuff that Bairstow gives us. We need another efficient scorer and another guy that's confident, that's going to take over the game when he needs to, and that can score at all three levels. I like that from Bairstow. I really do. It's just hard. You know what I mean? I think our team plays best when they play together as a team. We get over 15, 16 assists a game. And Ryland's penetrating dishes, and we make open shots. And the thing is that's hard is our team hasn't been making those open threes or those open shots that we have been getting prior to the conference play. And so, sometimes you get guys like Bairstow or even Bean, Ryland Jones, like Al was touching on, that, you're not making those open shots. Now sometimes you're forcing those shots that you would usually kick out to an open look, and the look's just not as high as a percentage. And but sometimes you have to do that, and you feel like you have to force it when sometimes you're not making those open shots. And I think that's kind of what it came down to a little bit in conference play so far.
You and Al talked in your pregame show about slow starts. And once again, Aggies come out. Wyoming gets out to a 10, 11-point lead there at the beginning of the first half. It's obviously not magic, but what do you do to get them to be more in tune at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, and it's funny because me and Al did talk about that, and it's hard. It's hard to answer because it's I don't know, what do you do? Like me and Al touched on, you play any team in college basketball, you go down by 10. I told Al it's hard. It's
hard to come back. Yep, yeah. Once you get down, and that's what the Aggies have been fighting in every single conference game. Yep.
Yeah, they fight, and that's what I love about our team is hey, we get down by 10, 15 points. Our team doesn't give up, but you use so much of your energy trying to come back from 10, 15 down that by the time you get back to a tie game or you go up by 2, Wyoming's been playing their same game that they've been playing the whole game, and we've been using so much energy, so much of whatever it takes to get back out of that hole that by the time you tie the game up or go up by 2, a lot of teams run out of that energy, and Wyoming just steadily kept playing their same game, and they end up winning the game. And it's the same thing that happened against Colorado State. We just have to come out. I don't know if it's something we need to do differently. Throw a 1-3-1 on them earlier. Our zone's been working. Maybe throw a little token press on them to change the pace of the game and kind of flip it into our favor. There's a bunch of different things that I think the coaching staff, because I think they're a great staff, they're going to go back and look at themselves and be like, hey, what can we do differently to start out games differently? And I think that's what they need to do at this point because we just get down and can't come back. So
okay, a very animated Ryan Odom at that one time in the game with a technical foul as well, and we'll be talking about that tonight, and people, of course, can talk about it as well. Jalen, we finally in the first half get the game back to a 20-20 ball game, and Wyoming goes on a little run, and then we get it 31-29 with a lead on Ryland Jones's 3, our first lead of the game after we'd had it tied. They scored and made it halftime. Then we fight back after we're down by as many as 7. We get it back to 50-48. Shulga makes a banker. Wyoming goes on a 5-0 run to take the lead back, and then we're chasing again. And then we finally grab the lead, like we said, they're late. At 67-65 on the Jones drive, and they come back and get 2 baskets in a row. So every time we fought hard to get there, we did not get there to get it done. Guard the three-point line. I thought there were a couple of threes in the game that hurt them, but obviously the things that hurt us were we couldn't – Dorius did the best job individually on EK, but you cannot play him one-on-one and the refs let him muscle into you, and then they eventually call an offensive foul or two, but not enough, and then they call the fouls on our guys. You can't play him one-on-one inside. We can't.
Yeah, no, and it's hard. When you get a good post guy, it's crazy because their team's so good at shooting threes that it's like, hey, like, do you double him and then, live with the consequences that could potentially be 3 points instead of 2? We couldn't double him, or we couldn't play him straight up. We threw some doubles at him, and you kind of have to just live with the results you get. But yeah, we couldn't guard him one-on-one. We threw a couple double teams at him and had to live with the result that we get. But a majority of the game, we tried to guard him one-on-one, and we just couldn't. He's strong. He's good. He's a good player. Like you said, the refs were kind of letting his post moves determine what happened. They got him for a couple charges, but also at a lot of the time he shot a decent amount of free throws as well too. So that we just couldn't guard him one-on-one, and it proved at the end of the game. We put Dorius on him. You try to put some length on him. We put Zapala in the game for a little bit, and we just couldn't execute defensively on him, and he just took advantage of that.
Yeah, in the late in the game, he scored on 2 free throws after he rebounded a ball that was missed, and then got that one shot. He just took a high post isolation, drove it down the lane, and banked it in over Dorius, and that was the winning point, 71-69 with 3 seconds to go. And then Maldonado, 12 points in a row. Well, EK's on the bench with foul trouble, and we couldn't make any hay there because of Maldonado taking advantage of us one-on-one too.
Yeah, exactly. So, like we kind of touched on before the game, it comes down to that initial defense. We even talked about it. Hey, you don't have Nemi on that secondary defense. It comes down really initial defense. We got to lock in. He scored 12 points straight. Who's going to step up to the plate? Who's going to lock him up? And like we said, it's hard because a lot of teams, they gave the ball to Ike, they gave the ball to Maldonado because they know that they're going to make good plays for their team. And, like we said, every loss is a learning experience, but, you're 1-3 in conference now, and we got to take those learning experiences and turn them into the game now because we don't have a lot of time. A lot of the teams that we play coming up are super good, and we got to be on top of it come next game because this gauntlet that we play of teams, it doesn't get much easier. Wyoming's a really good team, and it doesn't get easier, so our team is going to have to really lock in, and it's defensively. Our offense, we got to shoot threes better and everything like that, but we got to really focus in defensively.
And then we go Jones 19, Bean 19, Shulga 10, Bairstow 15. So you're thinking, hey, 4 double-figure scores, our offense. But really, in a lot of ways, we didn't execute it. I mean, Bean's 7 for 18. That's a very unlike Justin Bean game to have, even though he gets 13 boards. Bairstow goes 5 for 13. Between Bairstow, Ashworth, and Horvath, guys who shoot threes, were 0 for 11. So our offensive execution, one of your other keys, was not there either tonight in this game, Jalen. So, again, and it's quick, and Fresno State's on a roll, too. And Boise's on a roll. You got 2 teams coming up that have been playing really well lately. In Fresno and Boise, you play at Fresno Tuesday night, Boise here on Thursday night. We'll talk to you on Tuesday night, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
That's Jalen Moore with us again after the game as the Aggies lose 71-69 to Wyoming. Jalen's portion and looking at his keys brought to you by My Mattress. Remember, they feature IntelliBed and Tempur-Pedic mattresses sold only at My Mattress. Isn't it time you sleep exceptionally? Game day continues, and we'll have more. John Russell joining with me. Your text line's available at 339-0321, 753-KVNU if you want to talk about it. Got a lot to talk about tonight, and we're hoping to hear from the Spectrum. Jake Ellis should get some stuff from players and coaches for us a little bit later on as we continue on Game Day on KVNU.
S.E. Needham Jewelers is where Utah gets engaged. Couples throughout the state buy their rings from S.E. Needham Jewelers because of our low prices, extensive ring selection, and extraordinary benefits and services with financing available. Go to seneedham.com to learn more. We have many unique and beautiful engagement rings starting at $500. You'll find affordable engagement rings with our integrity price guarantee. This is why we are where Utah gets engaged. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Ascent Aesthetics is a premier aesthetic practice. Doctors Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette of Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat are proud to offer you a professional aesthetics team. The Ascent team is passionate about education, best techniques, products, procedures, and services. If you're looking for help with Botox, fillers, microneedling, laser hair removal, medical-grade facials, or skincare, Ascent will help you feel confident, beautiful, and refreshed. See which Ascent service is right for you and learn more at AscentAesthetics.com. That's AscentAesthetics.com.
What's more important than sleep? Granted, some things are, but not many. This is Ryan at My Mattress, and here we offer the best solution to better sleep, a better mattress. IntelliBed, the gel mattress, cradles your hips and shoulders while providing the best back support possible. Or come in and choose a Tempur-Pedic that boasts 93% of their owners love their bed. My Mattress, offering the best sleep possible by the South Walmart.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We often hear people say, I wish I could use White Pine, but I've already paid for arrangements elsewhere. Know that if you've already pre-planned with a different funeral home, you can still call White Pine. If you are being told you'll lose up to 25% of your money, White Pine will provide a discount equal to any fee for switching. If you have any questions, please stop by for a visit or give us a call. We would love to meet you and explain in more detail.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
When it comes to something as important as your vehicle, you need solutions that make sense. Northern Glass Pros are the logical choice for auto glass repairs and replacements because they work with all major insurance companies, will waive up to $100 off your deductible, and most customers who choose to use their insurance don't pay anything. So the next time you need an auto glass replacement or repair, think logically and choose Northern Glass Pros. Northern Glass Pros, Cache Valley's most trusted source of auto glass and tint.
KVNU Game Day is back with Aggie Call. Call 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
So the Aggies do drop to 1-3 in conference play. 4-3 is their home record this year, the Aggies, and 10-7 overall. Wyoming, this is a team under Jeff Linder that has already won like 10 road games at Wyoming in the last 2 years. I think they are like 4-1 on the road this year. They go to 12-2. They are, again, now 1-0 in conference play, their first game. And, John, they're the highest-ranked net team in the Mountain West Conference, and I think they showed us why. That's a good basketball team. They have their roles. They know how to play it, and then they let Maldonado take over the game at that time of the game. And the guy is experienced, he's strong, and he did rarely not deliver in this game tonight. Maldonado was really good, EK was really good, and their complementary guys did enough.
Yeah, great point. And Maldonado's one of those guys that, again, he feels like he's been around for 5-6 years, and he's been in the spectrum. He knows what to expect. He threw up an air ball, and
it didn't bother him.
It didn't bother him. The crowd tried to ride him, and he just he rolled with it. And when
missed
EK
one free throw, I think, is about it.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge fact right there. Utah State, it seems like when people play them, they shoot their free throws well. Again, tonight, 17 for 21. This is a team that is, as a team, I think they shoot about 65%, and they come in and you look
at
the numbers.
As a team, they are 68.8%.
So
Maldonado 68%, EK 66%.
Yeah,
at the foul line.
And you look at those two guys, Maldonado 6 for 7, and EK 7 for 9.
EK made 2 with a minute 16 to go in the game.
Big ones, but yeah, great points. And the thing is they've got a big guy, and whether you want to complain about the reffing, whether you want to say
I do in a minute or two. Okay,
Jalen was kind of saying they let him establish how the game was. They let EK establish how it was going to go inside, but you take what you're given. And they took what they were given. They hit 3-point shots. Again, you talked about it in your pregame show. This is a team that likes to take the three-pointer, and they had a lot of open three-pointers.
Right off the bat, of course, we had the flop called, or they call an offensive foul on the Aggies, and a replay will show that there was no contact at all. And that was right before the 4-minute media timeout in the first half. But then in the second half, the refs lost control there for a while. And I need to tell you, Winston Stith, one official in there, I thought he was gone. And then all of a sudden he showed up again like last year. He was blackballed by Utah State's coaching staff back in the days of the WAC because he would not call the game fair. against Utah State. And finally, when they had a chance to say, we don't want this official to do a game, Winston Stith is the one that they did not want to do the game. He did a game against the Aggies in Nevada when Utah State was winning the conference tournament at Reno, and the Aggies were up by 25. It was like he had money on the game because he kept calling fouls at the end of the game against when they had the Babbitt. And we had him beat. And he kept calling fouls that were phantom calls just to get the game inside of 10 points. It's like he had a point spread thing or something on it when the game's out of hand. And everybody, even other officials were looking at him like, why are you calling that? The game's a 25-point game.
It's over.
He's a bad official. He needs to wear a much bigger shirt. He thinks he's got a tough look because he's lifting weights or whatever. He's a bad official and has been blackballed by the Aggies. And all of a sudden, he's shown up the last couple of years. He was bad. And Tommy Nunez is not good either. And I do not know who the other guy was at all. But again, still, Utah State has got to quit shooting threes or get more inside, and they got to be tougher at the rim and tougher on defense than they have been in these close games. They pulled out one, but they haven't pulled out the others.
No, they haven't. And that's the frustrating thing is you look at the last several games. We got the win against New Mexico, but that very easily could have been a loss. That easily could have been a loss. The Aggies are just in a situation where, as we talked about there at the beginning with Jalen, you can't get down early. There's a lot of energy that's to be expended. And one of the things that we've talked about, this is the first game that Wyoming's played in about a month. They're fresh.
They did get, and I think they practiced about this last week. It's not like they were all rusty. They got back into workouts, I think, because they were ready to play San Diego State, and they couldn't play them.
And they did not look bad tonight. Let's face it, this is a good basketball team. You look at what they've done. They were ready to go tonight, and there might have been a little rust at the very beginning, but it didn't last long. And you can't get behind. You can't get behind.
You cannot play the game from behind.
No,
and that's what the Aggies have had to do. And boy, I'll tell you what, frustration of you just think we've seen it before in the Spectrum. Aggies will get over the top, take control, and put it away in the last 3 or 4 minutes. And all of a sudden they did all that driving in this game to get it back to where they finally get, they get it back. Okay, we're thinking they get it to 61-58 or 63-58. And then all of a sudden Wyoming, and then finally it did get the run down to 134 where we scored 9 straight points to grab the lead, and then they go right down to the other end. Within 19 seconds, they shoot 2 free throws and take the lead back, and then they stop us on a bean miss in the key, and then they make the alley-oop pass over the top, and Odom gets the one when we're looking for EK inside. All the things, again, when Wyoming had to execute, they did, and we did not really execute as well. And we're getting muscled a little bit on defense, too. Well, we're not a great defensive team without Nemi. It's a different defense. You have to play different. You have to play better. You have to be more in tune as a team, and our double teams at times got there a little late or a little slow. So what do we got on the text line to talk about tonight?
Yeah, kind of the same frustrations
339 0321.
Yeah, 435-339-0321. First comment from 8387. Good effort again, just not a good team this year. Coaching slow to react, officials stink again.
And you were there. Odom and Stith went at it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised Ryan stayed in the game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you've got to make the changes. I looked for those halftime adjustments and really didn't see it. It seemed like the beginning of the second half was just kind of a continuation of the end of the first. And
it was 31-31, and they came right out and made a three, and then they went inside. Yeah, and then eventually they built the lead out to 6 and eventually to 7.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to take away from EK. He played a very good game, but the Aggies really had no answer. The only trouble he got into was offensive fouls. You give him the Aggies credit for drawing those, but had he not done that, he would not have finished the game where he did with 23 and 8.
It is 48-48 when the turnover should have been called on an offensive foul on him that wasn't, and that's where Coach Odom got mad, and Shulga made the banker. But again, at that time, then Shulga makes the banker, and it looks like he got fouled on that play. They didn't call it, so it's 50-48, and Odom's finally had it with not calling the other end, no foul called there, and that's when Jeffries made 2 technicals and the EK then moved 1 out of 2, and then they stopped us. And then Odom gets the turnaround jumper in the key, and finally then an offensive foul is called on EK after that, but they're up by 3, and they extended it to 5 with Maldonado going on his 12-0 run. That's where that kind of started.
Yeah. Well, not able to take advantage of the opportunities we had. And this goes back to the comment from 2070 to 070. Our three-point shooting looks like we didn't practice it. And as he said, I would play an old-school packed 2-3 zone against USU. We can't hit threes.
If Ryland didn't make threes tonight, Bean made a couple. Ryland made 4. We were blanked.
We would have been in trouble. Well, you just look at Ashworth, Horvath, and Bairstow combined. They were 0 for 11.
That's what I said. And Ashworth has been so good lately at getting stuff done. If he's not making baskets, he drove it to the basket against Colorado State. And tonight, it was like he started, and it was like a no game for him.
Now, one of the big questions, and we're not sure, but Idle Rock,
COVID.
It was COVID.
He is tested positive for COVID.
Okay.
That was late. I didn't get a chance to go yesterday, but the coach did not say anything about it before the game until today. So I don't know if he tested positive today or if yesterday and they knew and they didn't say anything about it until game day. But he tested positive, and that's the reason why he's
and
not
I think he's a guy that might have done a good job.
Might have been a little more physical. Jalen maybe wanted him to play Ike. He's not tall enough.
Yeah.
I mean, he's bigger, but he's not tall enough. Horvath really got back down easily by Ike.
A lot of credit to Dorius. I mean, I think he did a good job.
He did come in and gave the game a little different feel.
Yeah, and made it a little more difficult. But Ike still, when he wanted to, he got in there. But
3 seconds to go.
Yeah,
He took Dorius right to the basket.
But he made tough shots, too.
Yeah, he did.
So, very frustrating.
Okay, we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk more. We're hoping to hear from players and coaches up at the Spectrum from you. And I think our phone was ringing a few minutes ago, but I was looking over my shoulder, and then I looked back, and I think they hung up. But 753-KVNU is our phone number, or the text line's available, 339-0321. It is game day on KVNU as the Aggies lose to Wyoming 71-69. It's 1-3 in conference play, and all 3 losses in all 4 games, right to the wire.
Winter is upon us, which is the best reason to have a clean and healthy home. This is Darryl with ChemDry of Northern Utah. Let us come and make your carpets, rugs, and upholstery and hardwood as clean as it can be. Platinum certified with the Carpet and Rug Institute and Indoor Air Quality Association. ChemDry's hot carbonation and quick dry times will leave your homes healthy and ready to combat the cold and flu season. We're a company that you can trust. Call ChemDry of Northern Utah.
ChemDry of Northern Utah. ChemDry of Northern Utah. 435-752-6100.
West Point Dairy Products at Hiram is hiring. West Point Dairy Products has been manufacturing high-quality butter for over 25 years in Cache Valley. They're currently expanding and want you on their growing team. West Point Dairy Products offers competitive wages for entry-level positions starting at $18 per hour, full benefit packages, double time on Sundays, a $2,000 sign-on bonus, and tremendous opportunities for growth. For immediate consideration, call Express Employment Professionals at 435-213-9595.
This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. What happens when an appliance breaks down and the cost of the repair is more than the appliance value? You're stuck with a service call charge at most places, not at Daryl's. With our exclusive Under One Roof loyalty program, we discount the service call diagnostic charge when you decide to buy new from us instead of the repair. That's the Daryl's difference, because service always comes first. Daryl's West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Stephen, stop dragging your feet. Don't you give me that look. You've had a bad attitude all day. Now, look, I know you'd rather be with your friends right now, but this has to be done, and either you start cooperating or I'm going to start taking things away from you. And I think you know what that means, don't you, Stephen?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Okay.
Watch it.
Bigger isn't always better. At Cast-A-Lite, you'll choose from a huge selection of pavers and receive help from experts. You'll see just how easy it is to do it yourself. For brick, block, rock, paver, and tile, go where the pros go. Online at castalite.com.
More analysis about today's game and your chance to talk about it. It's KVNU Game Day with Aggie Call. Here's the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis and John Russell.
And we, of course, have it as your show because you can call in or you can text in. 71-69 Wyoming is the final score in the Spectrum tonight as the Aggies did not lead much in the game. There were back and forths and 10 ties, but really Wyoming led for most of the game if you were not watching it or in the Spectrum. Jack wants to be on our post-game Aggie call. 753-5868. Jack, what have you got?
Howdy, Al and John. Exciting game with the wrong outcome, but a couple thoughts.
Okay.
Ryland Jones and Sean Bairstow really stepped up, I thought, and they needed to. And I thought they really contributed. The big thing was trying to defend EK, and two things. I feel like we should have tried to front him in the low post, because a bully ball player, if he catches the ball in the low post and you're behind him, he's just going to bowl you over, which is exactly what he did. The other thing is we should have overplayed his left hand. He never went right. Never. We should have overplayed his left hand, but hopefully if we meet them again, we can see that on film and take care of that, because, it was too easy for him to catch it in the low post as strong as he is.
As the thing is, Jack, these days, and if this is the Jack I think it is, you've been around the game a little to know, the coaches nowadays scout this thing, so they had to know about the left hand. And they had to know. I don't know what the strategy was, but Horvath behind him was not the answer tonight. He's just too thin.
No, definitely not. No.
That's true. That's the deal there. So
Dorius was better, but he should have been coached, I think, to front him in the low post and then out higher to overplay his left hand, because and I don't know whether they saw that on film or not, but it sure didn't.
And then the last play of the game, in the last play of the game, then EK catches near the free throw line, and he's a little quicker with his first step and got by Dorius to get that little bit of a move that he got, and it went left again for a left-hand banker off the glass. So.
Right.
Okay, good call, Jack. Thank you very much. Appreciate joining with us.
Guys.
Again, our phone number is 753-KVNU, 7169 Wyoming. Anything else on the text line?
No, I think the fans are just kind of a little frustrated, a little disturbed, and so no comments there.
How's BYU doing so far?
Yeah, BYU, they're playing San Francisco. This is a good game right now. Both teams, BYU 14-4, San Francisco, I think it's 15-2, but right now BYU, they're just down a couple of points. San Francisco's on the line.
And then
13-10,
and then Arizona did beat Utah.
Yeah, Utah did
played well.
Played well in the first half. Unfortunately, Arizona too much size. They end up winning.
And in our conference
64.
today, every road team won.
Yeah.
In the Mountain West, Boise won at New Mexico. Nevada won at Air Force. Colorado State won at San Jose State. And now Wyoming beats the Aggies today.
A couple other games real quick. Both Southern Utah and Weber, their games were postponed.
Yep, they were. And we got James to join with us on our Aggie Call program postgame. Again, the number is 753-5868. Go ahead.
Hi, gang. Guys, excuse me.
We're a gang. We are. I admit it. John and I are but John, we're a big enough. You put us together, and we're a pretty big gang. We are.
We have size. Maybe not numbers. We got size.
Thank you for not embarrassing me.
Oh, you're fine.
So I agree with everything you guys have been saying. I think the frustrating part, as you mentioned, was, we did get ahead there at the end. We're up by 4 points, and then within seconds they come and go up by 2. No, we were up by 2, and then they score 4 points, and then they go up by 2. We've got to learn how, when we get up, how to stay ahead. Right.
Right.
We need to learn, once we get up, we need to stay ahead. And then, at the end, they were going to go to Ike. I can't pronounce his name.
EK. Just EK.
EK, thank you. EK. They were going to go with him or Maldonado. And why not? To your point, take the chance, really double team EK there at the end, foul him if you have to, and force him to make that shot at the free throw as opposed to making that easy bucket down there at the end. I just think his free throw shooting isn't that good, but he did do well tonight. But force him there at the end of the game, really hit him hard, and if we foul him, we foul him, and then force him to make those 2 shots at the free throw and see where we come out.
Well,
as opposed to an easy shot there.
They did, James, spread the floor like they normally do with Maldonado, the guy that he can get it back to. But the problem with that is EK has been good this year, and the Aggies talked about that before the game. They have 2 really good 3-point shooters for Wyoming.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of, and they haven't. Tonight, percentage-wise, they did a pretty good job in the game. Jeffries went 4 for 7 Really, the other guy, Dussel, only went 0 for 1. He's their other guy who normally shoots threes. But they shot 6 for 16, 38%. So they're right about their average, and they shot 52% for the game. But, I know what you're saying, and I'm sure they talked about those things. But when he gets the ball out there in the middle of the court, I guess maybe they just felt like they would have left somebody too open when he got it out high. Maybe down low, they thought he might go down low. But every time we got the lead, we led by 2 points in this game. We never led by more than 2 when we got the lead. Every time we had the lead, we never held it. Yep.
No, we never could push it up.
No.
And then just real quick, your comments on what's happened to our three-point shooting. We early on we were doing really well. In these last few games, we've really been struggling there.
It's got to be there's got to be something of funk going on because Horvath was shooting well. I mean, like I said, you take out Ryland Jones and Bean tonight, and it's a 0 for 11 night from Bairstow, Ashworth, and Horvath. And Ashworth and Horvath have got to be considered 2 of your best three-point shooters on the team. Now we miss Brock Miller at a time when maybe he could have helped tonight. Although, Shulga and Bairstow got 25 points between them, got some stuff done. Mm-hmm. And Bairstow was on Maldonado, but again, Maldonado scored 12 straight points there on him at that one point in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it comes down to, the more you miss, the smaller the basket gets.
Yeah,
and it's going to take one of those games where all of a sudden they hit their first couple of baskets, and all of a sudden things will come together.
Anything else from you?
I'll just be excited. Ryland Jones has had a couple opportunities now, 2 games as I recall, to hit that 3-point.
Ryland, yeah.
I'm going to be so excited when he hits one and we just go crazy.
Yeah, we needed Ashworth's shot tonight that he got against Colorado that didn't happen. And then the deal, of course, here, that was New Mexico. And then tonight, Ryland did finally get some confidence. And again, that's what you're going to see. He's a guy who I've seen down through the years. If he has to score, he can score. If he doesn't have to score, he helps other people score. And he does things for the team. He had a really terrific game. Unfortunately, it comes up in another loss for this Aggie team in another close game. James, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it very much. Aggie Call continues. Post-game, you can text us at 339-0321. Or again, you can call us 753-KVNU. And we're still waiting to hear from coach and players from the Spectrum. I know that will not be easy for them, but they'll be talking about it, and hopefully Jake Ellis will get it to us. And this is Game Day on KVNU. Game Day brought to you in part by Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic, Hearing Center, and Ascent Aesthetics, and also brought to you by White Pine Funeral Services. Go to whitepinefunerals.com to find out more. There, when you need them the most, is White Pine Funeral Services. And, again, Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, bringing you Game Day on KVNU.
Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance. Are you confused by TV commercials telling you all that you're missing from your Medicare coverage? These national ads are offered by people you will never hear from again and are only interested in selling you something. Let us answer your questions and show you in detail your Medicare options. We're your local agent, here to help throughout the year. Please call 752-9493. Why not take advantage of every benefit available? Come see us or call 752-9493.
The Riverwoods Conference Center is the center in Cache Valley for business, entertainment, and special events. Whether you're hosting a large or small event, you have the choice of inside with all the new modern interior renovations or outside along the scenic banks of the beautiful Logan River. The Riverwoods is an ideal choice, offering seamless planning, easy catering coordination, and will make your event as professional or as beautiful as desired. To book your next event or for more info, visit theriverwoods.com or call 435-750-5151. We'll see you at the Riverwoods.
This is Dave Simmons for Les Olson Company. Imagine the other team has an ace in their starting lineup. He's fast, relentless, and his field goal percentage is 73%. What's your team's defensive strategy against a player like that? Well, that player is ransomware. And in 2020, 73% of ransomware attackers succeeded in holding their victims' data hostage. Don't take risks. Take action with the Les Olson Security Suite. Get your free network assessment at lesolson.com.
It's the perfect time to get rid of that old wood stove or put an insert in that old fireplace, because the state of Utah's wood stove and fireplace change-out program is back. Advanced Fireplace and Stove says let the government foot the bill up to $3,800 towards your new Heat and Glow gas insert or fireplace or Vermont casting stove. Do you live in Idaho? No worries. Idaho's change-out program is in full swing. They can assist in the Idaho wood change-out too. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 435-753-3734 or at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Why wait? Ron Kelly. Tire.
Why wait? Pull into Ron Keller Tire on Airport Road and get your all-season tires changed to winter tires. No need to schedule, no need to wait. With plenty of new winter tires in stock to give you that extra winter traction, pull right in and Ron Keller Tire will get it done fast and efficient. That's the Ron Keller Tire difference. Why wait?
Why wait? Ron Keller Tire. Why wait?
More analysis of today's game. It's KVNU Game Day. Here's the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis and John Russell.
Hi there. Again, it's a final of 71-69 for Wyoming. They did have a 10-point lead at 18-8 in the first half, so another slow start as we were talking about a little bit ago. Aggies did fight back to get it to 18-18, though, on a 10-0 run at that point, and that was Justin Meem with a three-pointer to tie it at 18-all. And then EK scored, and then the Aggies tied it again, and then the EK got 2 free throws, and then the Aggies scored again, so it's 22-all. And then eventually there was the technical on EK called at that time in the first half after he thought what he did was he made his play, he hooked one in, and then kind of celebrated and jabbered to the Aggie bench and did some things, and they got him for a technical right there.
Talked a little trash, and refs tried to control that.
So and again, the refs were right from the start way too much into it. This game was not a fun game to watch because of that. The intensity of the way they played it. And I got to give Wyoming is a good basketball team. I really, they're don't you think that EK and Maldonado would make our team one of the best basketball teams around?
Without a doubt. And EK gives you that inside. I know your frustrations, with the refs, but I also look at it, it went both ways. There were some ticky-tack fouls on their end. There are called fouls that weren't even fouls. But it takes the fun out of it, and it makes it very frustrating.
But there was the one that was called I made a note of it here. There was an offensive foul called, and when really it looked like there was no contact at all on that play when they called an Aggie for an offensive foul. You go back and look at the replay.
I think that was either Bairstow or Scholga.
One of those two. Yeah, and you went back and looked at the replay, and there was no contact at all, and the guy flopped over. And I thought they were going to do all these flop warnings. They've given Ryland one before in the game, but Ryland he got Maldonado, and that should have been a charge. He got it all in the chest, and that should have been an offensive foul called, and it was called on Ryland.
It was frustrating, but again, I go back to, Wyoming recognized what they were going to get called for and what they weren't going to get called for, and they took advantage of it. And that's what they needed to do. And the Aggies have to understand that they're going to have to be more aggressive. You talk about EK and Maldonado, what they would do to Utah State if they were on the team, what kind of team it would be. Yeah, without a doubt, it would give you some more toughness that you need inside, and Maldonado's a scorer. But unfortunately, they're not on our team, and so those two exposed some weaknesses that we had.
And that we went to Bean when we needed a basket there, and he delivered the first time out of the timeout that he delivered, and then he had the next chance down the floor and did not make the shot.
Was unable to make that.
He'd missed the one earlier. He'd missed the one before, and then it was the next time down when he did get the shot to tie the game back up before, again, EK made the basket with 3 seconds to go. Chris wants to join with us on Aggie Call post-game, 753 KVNU. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, thanks for the time, guys. Real quick, I just took my son to his first Aggie game at the Spectrum. It was an awesome experience. But I just had a question for you guys, and just want your opinion on it. What did you guys think about our coach getting a technical foul at the most inopportune time when the momentum was starting to shift in the Aggies' favor? That was the first thing. And then his lack of making adjustments at the end of the game, either when their center went was in the game, he dominated us, and I don't know, it didn't seem like any adjustments were made. When he went out, their point guard came in and just worked his way down that side of the baseline and scored I don't know how many points in a row, and we didn't do anything to stop him. I'll hang up and listen to your guys' response, but thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate the call and the questions. And their one thing is Aggie fans, we're going to wonder about it. I go back to, and we had an earlier caller that talked about, how I thought we made it too easy. I know that EK, that's his move, but it seemed like there was no effort to double up. I would have much rather had him kick it and have somebody hit a three-pointer.
Get two around him and then make somebody else make the three
exactly.
or something.
He had played so well or even fouled him. It was frustrating. As far as the technical goes.
See, I wasn't there, and it was not on TV. You couldn't really see. You could all of a sudden tell that they were saying that Stith and Coach Odom were toe-to-toe talking about things. But, again, it was after when the technical was called. Let's see, I wrote it down right here. It was, again, Odom really mad after the technical, and it was called, again, after the offensive foul wasn't called, and then we came back and we scored to tie the game, and he thought, well, actually, Shulga made it 50-48 for us, and then Coach Odom thought he got fouled on that play, too, and he was really upset.
And he did, and, these coaches try and get the refs on their side, but, you've got some momentum. Just because you didn't get that call, it did turn it around because they were able to turn around, get their free throws, and then they got the ball back.
Two technicals, they made one of two, and then they got a turnaround jumper out of the whole big run there. So
it cost 3 and
5 points.
Took the game right back to 5,
Vic wants to join with us. Go ahead, Vic, on Aggie Call postgame.
Hi, you guys. Tough loss tonight. And unfortunately, we're going to see a steady diet of this. Fresno's got the big center that is not only mobile, but he's a great basketball player. San Diego State, Scott Nathan Mensah, who's gone off against us a few times. I mean, he had a great game against Cada last year. The Boise State's got 2 guys, Acott, and I can't remember the other guy's
Armas,
name. Who are
I think it is, or something. Yeah.
Playing. I mean, we're going to see a steady diet of this because we have a hole in the middle of our team.
Well, we have a hole defensively in the middle of our team. I mean, Horvath has shown he can score some, but again, it's just not the physicality of having Cada. And Vic, you've seen basketball as long as I have. We'll never maybe see another Cada, but boy, it was great when we had him. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But the guys we do have just need to be smarter about defensive positioning. If you know your guys. A predominant right-handed player, you got to play to that side. If he's left-handed, you got to play the left side. I mean, just so many things that we can do. But having said that, we all love our Aggie team. We know they're going to compete. We can give up on the idea of a at-large bid because it ain't going to happen. But right now, the Aggies just need to fight to be ready when the tournament comes so that we can play well there, because we're going to see a steady diet of big centers that are going to go inside and cause the same kind of thing we saw tonight.
And we're going to have to make some three-pointers to have other people respect our three-point shooting and change the defense a little bit so they can't clog up Justin Bean running through the middle of the key and all that kind of stuff.
I think we missed tonight probably at least 6 or 7 shots within 5 feet of the basket.
Yeah, we did. And Justin and Bean missed quite a few of those tonight, too.
Yeah.
Good points, Vic. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks, Al.
All right. And we had one other one on the line, and I didn't get the name. Oh, Morgan. Go ahead, Morgan. You're on the air.
Hey, guys. It's good to be with you tonight. All his comments have been great. I think there's a lot of things that have been spot on. I think one thing we're missing, it doesn't seem like we've got a guy that wants to, there's not a guy that we really can go to that we know we're going to get a bucket from. I mean,
well, Bean wants it. Bean now wants it, and he thought he made the shot. He made the shot against New Mexico to send it into the overtime before. And he did deliver on the one right there, at the top of the key to get the game back to tie. We went right to him, and he got it done when he was not having a great night at that particular time, too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing, and what I'll close on is the spectrum was back tonight. I mean, I was there at the game and was able to kind of listen to the student section was about as full as I've seen it for a few years. And so I was really impressed with the students. Everybody got loud. And there was a little bit more excitement since the COVID happenings, and so I was excited to see that back.
Okay, that's good. And John was up there for a while, and I think you felt it from the students especially.
Morgan, and I'm going to call out Section S flat out, which is behind the north backboard. And
that's the west backboard.
Or I'm sorry, the west.
West backboard.
Guys, you got to, look, we don't expect everyone to stand up the entire game like the student section does. But when you're behind a backboard, get up and do more than just kind of clap and do an occasional wave, one hand in the air, because as the song says, we do care. And, it was a great crowd. And I agree with Morgan. The students, it was as full as I've seen it in a long time. They were into the game. They were ready to explode. There was one play, there was a great steal
And Bean got it blocked from behind.
He got it blocked from behind.
The steal, it was like Shulga or something, got it off the ground and got it to him, And
I know what Bean was doing. He was going to hammer it. He was looking to make.
Cocked behind, and the guy got it. It was a clean block.
Yeah,
it was a clean block.
Good call. Students, the fans were not
the
happy
only
about
good call of the game. I'll say that right now.
There you go.
Okay, there you
but no, it's a good call. But I want to go back to what Morgan talked about and what you were saying.
Thanks, Morgan.
Bean is our go-to guy. We know that he is. He deserves it.
The other team knows it. That's who Wyoming went after because their defense always designs to go after. And he still did deliver there late, but again had to struggle all night long.
But again, go back to Colorado State. They had Roddy. We know Roddy's the guy, but they also had Stevens who could step up. You look tonight, Ike was their guy, but you knew Maldonado was going to be there.
I loved having the ball in Rylan Jones's hand to shoot the shot at the end of the game. That's probably about our best chance if we can't get that half-court quick pass, which hasn't worked a couple of times to get shots, although Bean got the one down in the corner against New Mexico. So.
Yeah, and we got a post pertaining to that. What we've seen the last couple of games in this situation, short time clock, so you get the ball to midcourt to Bean, timeout, and then you draw up a play. Were you surprised they didn't do that?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I do like the Jones. I mean, Jones did a good job. He got where he needed to be. He got an open shot. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the bucket. That bucket goes in, and all of a sudden we're talking about what a great game he had, and
what a great win.
He stepped up.
Here is Rylan Jones after the game from the Spectrum. Again, our post-game coverage of the Aggies brought to you by LSS Insurance. They lose to Wyoming 71-69 tonight. LSS Insurance believes their job starts when you've selected one of their great insurance plans. Here's Rylan Jones from up in the Spectrum.
Tough loss. They're a good team. Just not much to say. We've lost on the last possession, 3 games in conference. We just got to find a way to finish and come out on top. It was another game where we had some runs where we were good and some lulls in our offense. Obviously, shooting the ball in the first half wasn't great. But credit to their defense. They kind of play a funky defense, and kind of the guys that they want to shoot, they kind of just back way off. And, we just missed some of those shots. But, yeah, just tough loss, honestly.
Questions? Can you talk about the last possession and what you were looking to get? Did you think that shot had a chance of going in?
So 3 seconds, not a lot of time, and coach drew up the play, and it was kind of my read, and there's going to be a screen for Steven on the baseline, and my look was to see if he was open to get a 3 up, and they covered him, and then I kind of had nobody in front of me. I shot it, and I knew it was probably going to be long, just running full speed and not really being able to get my feet all the way under me. But when I shot it, it was right on target, and I'm like, it's got a chance, and just obviously off the backboard. So, but yeah, no, I mean, with 3 seconds, it's hard to get a really good look, and I think I was pretty wide open. Obviously tough shot, but yeah.
I think you got things kind of going, especially in that second half. Got some shots dropping. I feel like you just kind of fed off the momentum there at that time.
Yeah, they were going under on all my ball screens, and my job was do what the game tells me to do. And when they go under, I got to step up and make some shots. And I did. I shot when I was open, and I made some shots and just fed off the crowd and momentum, and getting on our run, and just not enough.
Rylan, obviously Brock's been out, but RJ was out as well tonight. So did you feel like more urgency from you to just produce more with kind of the less guards on the court?
Yeah, missing 2 key players. I hope they get better, obviously, and I hope they get back on the court. But yeah, whenever you missing 2 starters, there's Brock's shooting ability and RJ's playmaking and scoring. There's the points to be made and plays to be made that we have to make. And yeah, I had a couple I got some open shots, and it just came in the flow of the game. I wasn't trying to force anything or be aggressive. I was just doing what the defense told me to do, and I got some open looks. Yeah.
And how about when you got that and 1 to complete like the 9-0 run, just lost steam, but just that moment right there, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was a big play. I think we were down 2, and the guy kind of left, and I got in there and got the foul call, and I snuck it in, and big play in like the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. Take the lead. The crowd gets into it, and yeah, I just saw the opening and just drove in there and scored.
Ryan, you kind of mentioned it, but 3 or 4 games this season that you've lost on the last possession, struggled to close out the game at the end. Is there anything specific that you think you guys need to adjust on to be able to kind of close that out in the last 3 minutes?
I mean, obviously our defense could be better. You know, they scored a couple times down that stretch, but you know, the last 3 minutes is the last 3 minutes. But there's a lot of possessions in the game, and you know, one of our big saying is every possession matters. And there were a lot of possessions throughout the whole game that could have changed the way the game ended. Obviously, the last 3 minutes are the most important, but we can't just base it on those 3 minutes. Obviously, we got to get stops, but yeah, just possession games. We just got to be the team that finishes more possessions. And I think, that's going to be our goal for the next couple of games is just be more consistent. Yeah.
That's Ryland Jones after the game, John. He had 19 points, not his season high. His career high is BYU at Utah, where he had like 25 once. But he had 21 against Penn. He was 7 for 14, 4 of 10 from 3, 1 for 1 from the foul line, a rebound, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals in 37 minutes. Aggies only had 8 turnovers.
Yeah.
In the game tonight. I think they only had 1 in the second half. I think they had 7 at the half, as I remember. But again, that's 6 for 26 on the three-point shooting line, and you let somebody come to your building and shoot 52% against you, where you don't stop them a whole lot. And the rebounds are just 32-31 for the Aggies, so things are close. When you get a 71-69 game, you get a game that goes to the end and they make 2 free throws to make it, a 5-point game or 7-point game against Colorado State, whatever it was at the end. When it's down to 1 possession type games, every possession is important. Really, and we're not getting quite as many stops as the other side, and we're fighting from behind all the time and not grabbing the lead and running with it.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of things to note. One of the things that Ryland talked about was their defense their goal is to get the guy they want to shoot.
We talked about that before the game.
And I think that's, Ryland was the guy, and he did step up.
And he made him pay, so they had to probably change just a little bit.
A little bit.
And then they started to make, okay, Horvath, if you're outside, you make a 3-point shot. Or Ashworth, if you're outside, you make a 3-point shot.
And they didn't, and that was the tough thing. I go back to a comment made on the text line. This is from 4881. It said it was frustrating to watch USU get some excellent steals or force some turnovers, then ultimately do nothing with it. We got to work on getting the empty, easy buckets. And
we couldn't make the momentum killer, like the steal and that dunk by Bean and some of that kind of stuff to really get everybody going tonight.
Who knows? And it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, but, Bean gets that dunk, place explodes, and I think that even at that point Wyoming even calls timeout. They don't want to let things get out of control. But you can talk about what happened tonight. They did a good job defensively. The Aggies had 9 steals. Like you said, only 8 turnovers. I think that's the first time this year they've had sub 10.
Might be.
And those are all good things. But steals are only good if you can convert, and they did not, and Wyoming did.
Let's see what the points off of turnovers tonight. Points off of turnovers. We did have 13. They had 6 off of that. So that's a 7-point margin our direction. They had 34 points to our 32 in the paint. We had 12 bench points to their 0 bench points in the game. So there's a lot of those areas that are there that are on the positive side. We had 12 offensive rebounds, but how many offensive rebounds did we not put in?
Yeah.
That was what was frustrating. Shots at the rim that we ended up missing, a lot of layups and a lot of shots right at the rim.
Yeah, caller earlier said, that's you got to make, not only do you have to make the 3-pointers, but you also got to make the easy 2-pointers. But the 3-pointers, again, I'm going to have nightmares tonight of 6 for 26.
Yeah, well, and that's a little better than 3 for 20 or whatever we had against Air Force, or 1 for 19. But that's still not a lot better. That's still not very good.
You're not going to win with
that. Coach is coming up, and we've got more post-game. We're getting towards the top of the hour. We take a break on our Aggie Call post-game, where the Aggies lose again in conference play and drop to 1-3 with the loss to Wyoming at home, 71-69.
Cache Valley Bank's newest branch is now open in Preston. I'm Lance Zollinger, and I'm excited to announce Cache Valley Bank is now open inside Stokes Marketplace. If you're an existing customer, you'll love the convenience. If you're not a customer, we'd love to have you open a new account with us, or even talk with us about a loan for your farm or business. Cache Valley Bank, a community bank where decisions are still made locally, now open in Preston. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
It's that first kiss, that moment
in time. It's that look in her eye when you get the first sign. We make it personal, you know when it's real. Something for everyone, we know how you feel. Jared's fine jewelry, make it special, make it Jared's.
The new year isn't the only thing we're celebrating here at Alpine Home Medical. This year marks our 25th anniversary, and we couldn't be happier to serve you. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. If you haven't shopped with us, we'd love for you to make us your one-stop shop for any of your home medical needs. They're always changing, so please don't hesitate to stop by any of our 10 locations throughout Utah and southern Idaho.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Or online at alpinehomemedical.com.
KVNU, Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM with the best talk and information.
Advanced Heating and AC, the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah, is teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you with the best furnace units available. And now is the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and AC and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning at 752-7272. Stop by at their showroom west of DI. Online, advancedheating-ac.com. Again, the Aggies drop another one, another close one in the conference. Every single game has really gone almost, you could figure, to the last possession of the game, and Utah State loses this one. 3-point shot by Rylan Jones just across the timeline, probably, 30 feet? Kind of where he let it fly. It banked off the backboard, didn't go after they had made, again, the basket with 3.3 seconds to go, and Utah State called the timeout. It was EK with another bank shot in the game, and he had a huge game. So let's get to Coach Odom now post-game and see what the coach had to say, again, about tonight's loss, 71-69. Again, very animated at one time in the game, and he's been pretty soft-spoken most of the year, so he had to be pretty upset.
Okay, Head Coach Ryan Odom.
Yep.
Thoughts on this one, please.
Yeah, Wyoming, they did a magnificent job. I was really impressed with their performance today. Obviously, their big two came out in a big way. Ike and Maldonado kind of took turns, punching us. And at times, our guys did a really nice job of taking it away. I mean, what you saw there in that particular game is, what you've seen all year against basically every team that they've played, minus Arizona. And that game was very similar to the Stanford game, where they didn't come out on top right there at the end. And certainly it could have happened that way again. Credit to our guys for, finding a way to take the lead there and get back in it. And really, not that we were ever out of it, because it weren't many huge leads within that game. It was just kind of a back and forth. And, the last play there, they end up, you think it probably is going to go to Maldonado, but, in retrospect, we were trapping him a little bit, at the end. So they're probably thinking, hey, we'll just, throw it to him and we'll see what happens. Let him just kind of bully his way to the basket. And that's what happened. I mean, he got in there. There's a shooter in the corner. Bean's a little nervous about coming off the shooter there, hoping that Trevin's size and physicality would, take the shot away, or at least make it a little bit more difficult. And, he ends up getting in there and making it happen. So tough ending for our guys. The key for us, is our response from here, and one of the cool things for me and our staff is that literally every day that we walk into our locker room, or we walk in for practice, or any type of meeting that we have where we're together, it's the same team every day. Whether we won by 15, or we lose a heartbreaker like this one, or Colorado State, I get the same team every single day. And I'm really proud, of the men that these guys are. And, I know that they will respond, from this. And we understand we've got a very, very tough stretch here. Our league is excellent this year. And we've had 3 straight games, 4 now, that have been right down to the wire. in each one of them. And so our guys have got to, we have to, as a team, figure out how to get over the top, and turn these kind of defeats into wins. And we've got the character and the leadership in order to do that. But it's going to be like this all year. It's just a really, really good league.
Questions? Obviously, you're missing a couple of guards tonight. When did you find out about RJ? Assuming it's COVID related.
Yeah, RJ, right when we got back from Colorado State, started to not feel well. So, as is typical when the symptoms start, and you go ahead and test and all that. Obviously, we knew about Brock, and Brock's situation is kind of an ongoing thing. So, Sean's filled in quite nicely for him, and we're pulling for Brock to get himself, healthy again so he can get back. But, missing RJ, that's one more guy that, is a physical guard that could, defend in there. But that's not, we're certainly not, an excuse-making group. And, we have enough in the locker room to win every game that we play. It's on our schedule. And we have, the character to do that. And we've got to make sure that we're working to get a little bit better every single day. That's the key. And this is going to happen. It's going to happen to every team, throughout. You're going to have guys certain nights and you're not other nights. And, you can't make excuses. You got to deal with it.
Are you a coach that normally gets that fired up? You got pretty fired up.
I do occasionally. You saw it. Yeah, occasionally I will. But, probably not that's what I said to the team. I'm sorry. We ended up losing the game there by 2 at the end, and I gave them a couple of buckets there. And that's not what a coach is supposed to do. And so I apologize to them after the game. And because it's the game is a collection of plays, right? And you can't pick one and say you lost because of that. But when I do what I did, that's a cardinal sin there. I shouldn't have done that.
No, you can't. You don't like to talk about officiating, but it was tough at times where they would call a lot of fouls, not get a full win, and then a lot of times just a lot of physicality was just. Like
it was a physical game, yeah, and I thought our guys, handled it pretty well, and certainly theirs did too, and that's the way that they play. It's an old, New York Knicks style of ball, that they're playing there. Mark Jackson dribbling down, Patrick Ewing on the other side, and it works. It works, and. We have to do a better job of trying to figure out a way without exposing the three-point shooters, because they're waiting over there and they're hoping that you're coming. And we've seen it plenty of times where all of a sudden you're down 20 because they're scoring the layups and they're getting the threes. And so I thought our guys did a pretty nice job. That first play, they threw it out on Rollins' guy and he banged a three, the first possession of the game. Or maybe the second, I can't remember exactly which one, but bottom line is, you do have to be attentive to 0 and 53.
Coach, there were lulls on offense, and then there were stretches where you guys just kind of had it clicking. What did you see, and what are some takeaways from that?
They do a good job of really making it a little bit apprehensive, because they guard you so uniquely, and they'll pick certain guys and just say, we're not going to guard you. And, Sean was kind of the marked guy. And so initially when you first start out in the game, that can be a little, alarming, right? And it's not like we didn't prepare them for that. But when you actually get out there and you're seeing a guy stand, 8 to 9 feet away from you, or you're standing in the corner, and when you're used to having a guy 5 or 6 when you don't have the ball, they're all the way on the other side of the court almost. It's a little bit different. And so we settled a little bit early. And so they were kind of picking the shots that we were taking by playing us that way.
So, again, I think that's kind of what we talked about a little bit, John, is that they kind of baited the Aggies into those kind of shots. And maybe they said, okay, Horvath, Ashworth, some of you guys, and even maybe Ryland to start the game, you're going to have to show us that you can do something to hurt us, or else we're going to play you this way, you know what I mean, until you show something. And Ryland eventually did, maybe where they had to change a little bit on him and all. But, and then he's talking about how, again, the three-point shooter gets off, and they were a little bit worried. But I think he felt like that Maldonado was going to get the ball at the end of the game and not EK, and Maldonado gave it to EK and let him go.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it, and he did what he should have done, EK that is. Took it to the basket, and, if you watch that play, Bean did just kind of reach in, gave kind of a, just kind of a
little bit of help,
token look. But EK just took the ball strong to the basket, and that's, it's tough. And I think Coach was a little frustrated. We heard about, him talking about the technical. Mm-hmm. There was a comment on the mobile app from 2070 saying, it was embarrassing. And I think Coach was not pleased with the technical himself. He realized that it probably wasn't the right time. He said it. So
I have a good friend of mine, and he says, why did Odom get so mad at Winston Stith, other than the fact that he's the worst ref in the history of the game? That was one of my that's the only reason why he has been, and I have no idea where he came back from, because he was gone. The Aggies got rid of him and wouldn't let him do games for a long time. And all that, but he's back there going toe-to-toe and calling lots of weird fouls in the game, and the whole flow of the game was off again. And, so you got he and Nunez are two of the guys who've been around way too long. And, so that's the way it turned out tonight. Aggies lose 71-68. Do you want to hear from Justin Bean?
Yeah, let's hear a little bit from Justin.
Do you have anything else you want to say about the coach?
And this is an interesting comment. This came from 9310.
Is this a text after listening to the coach?
It's a text from 9310. It says, I don't think Wyoming contested a single three we took. And when you look at the game, that was their objective. You're going to beat us with the three, make them.
And
then we'll go from
at
there.
times this year we have, and without Brock and with and when you have Ashworth and Horvath off, you're not getting much help from those three-point line shooters. Okay, here is Justin Bean, it looks like, post-game from the Spectrum. Appreciate Jake Ellis for getting these. You can read his story about the game at CashValleyDaily.com.
Yeah, this is obviously a tough one for us coming back to the Spectrum. We were awaiting a packed arena, and that's what we got. So first, just like to thank all the fans and students coming back from the break. They were in full force, and I thought they definitely contributed to the atmosphere and how electric it was at times. And so that was something it was great to be back in that environment. But yeah, I thought defensively, I thought we did a good enough job to get the job done. Obviously, scored 71 points. They killed us in the paint. But I think, more than anything, shots weren't falling. We were kind of in our heads a little bit. We just kind of took what they gave us. I thought they dictated a lot of the shots we were getting, particularly in the first half. And so credit to them. But, we definitely still have hope, and we are, still staying positive. So we know what this team's capable of. I know what this team's capable of. And that hasn't changed. And so just looking forward to the next one. We got to bounce back from this one and make the right adjustments, and look forward to another game at Fresno.
Questions for you?
You mentioned the shots just getting in your head. It just seems like this ever since conference plays began, 3-point shots have just been really hard to come by. It kind of got better as the game went on tonight, but at the start of the game was tough. Yeah, no, it was. I think again we're just in our heads a little too much. I think, obviously the way they were playing it, they kind of a lot of the time dictated that. We had never seen, a defense like that before. But, I think it's just a matter of we're just in our heads a little too much, and we know in practice, we knock them down in practice, and we have all the confidence in the world in all of our guys that are shooting them. And so didn't think they were bad shots, but again, we just got to keep going with the flow of the offense and just keep the ball hot. And we'll get the right shots that'll end up making them.
Can you talk about your last shot? And was that the kind of look you were looking for?
Oh, yeah, the last. Yep. So that play, yeah, we wanted to try and get either a shot in the middle like Ryland did with the number of seconds that were on the clock, or Steven was coming off a screen. If they doubled on Steven, then I was going to flash up and get the ball and shoot it. But it was a good look, I thought, considering there was 3 seconds. But yeah, we definitely wanted to try and get a quick one right as the game was ending. So that was a good look. It was, again, just a tough game.
Justin, it's obviously frustrating to start conference play like this, but it's even more frustrating that every game's been close. Y'all have been in every single game. Just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, we're right there. These margins are very close, and that's a good team. That's a good a team as I've seen in Wyoming, and since I've been here at Utah State, and so they've really done a good job, beat some quality opponents. And so, again, we just got to keep our heads high and keep trucking along, moving forward, and staying positive, because we know that we're right there. Could have won a lot of these games, just one possession difference. So we just got to find a way to get a stop at the end of the game.
The one thing that bothers me a little bit, John, as we listen to, again, Coach and the players, is that the coach specifically told the media yesterday, and I was not there because I had to be at the Logan High game, and they did it later yesterday afternoon. So, but we played him on the pregame, saying they will play a defense that they select some people that they're going to try to stop, and then they're just going to let everybody else. It didn't sound like the guys heard that, but they didn't react to that. Or they, right. And if you're wide open from three, maybe we need to take it inside or take another and go at somebody, maybe get to the foul line rather than just keep firing up threes. 0 for 9 before Island Jones finally made that 1-3 in the first half.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. And you know, in this case, you have to say they were the better coach team. Tonight, certainly they were the better coach team.
Well, and even Coach Odom says, I cost us 2 baskets, you know. And
they were prepared.
Free throws in the basket.
They were ready. But, you know, there's nothing. You're a golfer. You know how this goes. You can have 2 or 3 rough rounds, and then you make a putt, and all of a sudden
if you don't make putts, you can't make putts. And if you're not shooting three, if you're not making threes, you don't make three. And it's getting in their heads. And I mean, you know, Justin kind of indicated that a little bit of this stuff from conference. What started, it's now that 1 for 19 against Air Force has really weighed in on them constantly. And it's kind of like, okay, we need 1 or 2. Yeah. We need to get into a roll, and we don't get into a roll anymore from that spot.
And that's why we need a guy like Horvath to go for, you know, 16, 20 points, but they're all from inside the arc. They're, you know, because he makes those baskets, it's going to make a difference. I think the biggest concern I have is that earlier in the season, we were getting 20 assists on 25 baskets. 18 assists on 25 baskets. The last several games, it's been 50%.
And again, if you're missing all those threes, there's probably a pass that went to that guy that there would be an assist if he makes it. So that makes a little bit of a difference. But we missed a lot of inside shots. Horvath's 2 for 9. He made 2 of 5 that were probably right at the rim. Yeah. Bean is 7 for 18, but he's 5 for 13, the 10th best shooter in the nation, with the field goal percentage that he had tonight. You know, and Ryland goes 3 of 4 inside the arc, and he hits 4 out of 10 from 3, including a desperation one at the end. So he's really 4 for 9.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way you can put it, the way there. But again, and Bairstow goes 5 for 8 inside when he backed guys down like EK did, but he's 0 for 5 from 3. Yeah. So, again, if you're not making them, you shouldn't be shooting them. And you got to make the extra pass or keep penetrating or do something, unless it's the end of the shot clock and it's the only thing you got.
How many quad wins does Wyoming? I don't think they have any.
I don't think they have a quad 1 win, and they're 29 in the net rankings. Yeah. They beat Washington. Washington's normally pretty good. They haven't been that great this year, although they're playing better now. Right. I think they beat Stanford today.
They got to win tonight, correct.
And Stanford is the team that they lost to. Arizona, obviously, is a high-rated team. They lost to Arizona by 29 points. Mm-hmm. That is their only quad 1 team that I think they have played. Grand Canyon's not in the top 50. No. You know, and for the Aggies, we at least have Oklahoma, but now we have losses to Wyoming, to BYU, to Iowa, to you know, it's getting, there's a few. Colorado State. So we've got teams that are in the top 50 that we haven't beaten, except for Oklahoma.
Yeah, those early wins were great, and a lot of people were saying these are real resume builders for an at-large bid. There's no at-large bid.
Vic's exactly right. There's no at-large bid.
He nailed it on the head. Mm-hmm. You got to be ready for the tournament, and that's how we're going to get in.
Like I said, through this stretch now, if you didn't win this one here tonight against the 29th net team, the best. Can we go at the start of the year 5-3? I have a hard time believing that now. I mean, maybe the best we have is 4-4 out of the first 8, and 2-6 and 3-5 is looking more and more likely, unfortunately, because of where you're going. You're going to Fresno, who's playing pretty good basketball, beat Vegas on the road last night. They do have Orlando Robinson, who was mentioned. He is a guy who can go inside and outside as a big player. They always play. They're tenacious. They're flying all over the court with their players and all. They got the guy from Utah Valley, who played for them last year, who wasn't much of a factor, has played much better this year. Then you got Boise State, who has now won 9 in a row with their win against New Mexico today. And then you've got a bye on the weekend, and then you go to San Diego State, who might have been through COVID for a while and might be about ready to play then. And then you have Nevada back at home, I think it is, for the Eggs. So it's not an easy run.
No, and there are going to be games that are going to have to be made up. And then we've got Air Force February 1st, and they're feeling like, hey, we beat them once. Why can't we beat them again?
You can't take anybody. And the problem is you don't want to get lumped out of the top group. You'd like to have everybody, but maybe then if you lose a few, maybe think people come in, like Nevada at that point and thinks, oh, well, they're not that good. Maybe we can try to stop them.
You got to play for the tournament because
you
don't want to have to play that extra game.
You got to build towards the tournament, not to play early, and you got to finish in that top group, and that's going to be hard now. Boise 3-0, San Diego State 2-0, Wyoming 1-0, Colorado State 3-1, Fresno 2-1, Nevada 2-1. Air Force and UNLV at 1-2 are ahead of us at 1-3 right now in the conference standings. There'll be more games. There's a Monday night game. Then we play Tuesday. There's some other games Tuesday. Then we play again Thursday back at home against Boise State. Anything else then, John?
No, I appreciate everybody that texted.
Oh, we got a lot of calls and a lot of texts tonight. We appreciate that.
Yes, indeed.
Again, when things go like this, that's what ends up happening usually.
It does.
Again, so Jeffries with 14 for them. He hit 4 of 7 threes. He's a 48% three-point shooter. You can see why. Maldonado went 7 for 10, 6 of 7 at the foul line, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He does it all for them. He is a really good, solid basketball player with 21. Yep. Odom had 11. He hurt the Aggies tonight. He also had 4 boards. He made a big basket there towards the end of the game. And EK with 23, 8 of 14, 7 of 9 from the line. He had 8 rebounds. I think he only got 1 or 2 rebounds in the second half. And then Dussel had 2 points, and that's it. And he got a 2-point basket. They had played 3 subs and got nothing from the bench. Dorius, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 block shots, 11 minutes. You'd have to give him a plus for what happened tonight. Max Scholga, you'd have to give him a plus for what he did off the bench. 4 out of 6, 2 for 2 free throws, an assist, 2 steals in 19 minutes. Rylan Jones, 19 points, 7 of 14. We mentioned all his numbers. Sean Bairstow, 15 points, 5 of 13 shooting, missed all 5 threes, but 5 of 6 free throws. He had just 1 rebound, 2 assists, and Ashworth, 0 points, 0 of 3, only took 2 3-pointers, had a rebound, 2 assists, and 1 steal. And then Bean, 7 of 18 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 4 free throws, 13 rebounds, 19 points, so another double-double for Justin. 3 assists, he had 2 steals in 40 minutes, and then Brandon Horvath only 4, about 9 less than his average of 2 of 9, 0 of 4 from 3, 0 of 2 from the foul line. He's got a funk from the foul line. It's a mental thing right now for him. 6 rebounds in the game, but he did get 4 fouls. And so the Aggies shoot 41%, 23 from 3, and 73 from the foul line. Out-rebounded 32-31. Had 12 assists and just 8 turnovers, 9 steals, 2 blocks. Wyoming hit 52.2%. 38% from 3 and 81 from the foul line. And they had the 31 rebounds, 12 assists, and they had 14 turnovers and 3 steals in the game. So that's the final stats for Cache Valley Bank. Again, always that tradition of caring and helping on the local scene. They're a small local bank, but you know what? They got all the big resources of a bigger bank now with all their expanded spaces around Cache Valley and all over Utah, now into Idaho as well. So John and I will be back after the Fresno game on Tuesday night, and guess what? That'll be late. We know some of you don't stay up, but please do, and join with us with calls or texts. The game will be Tuesday night's game. I can't remember exactly. Let's see. Where's my schedule for the conference?
It's late.
Well, I was going to see where it was on. The network it is on Tuesday night for that game will be CBS Sports Network.
Great.
It'll be on at 9 o'clock our time. And then Thursday night, the game's back here against Boise State. And I don't know if they figured out the TV on that because it was switched from what it was before. I don't know if we'll have TV on that one.
We'll make sure you know Tuesday night.
We'll figure it out. So that'll be it. And so Jalen and I will be on at 8 on Tuesday night for the game at 9. So appreciate Jake Ellis up at the Spectrum getting the stuff back. Appreciate all the callers. Appreciate John Russell and Jalen Moore. And the final score is the Aggies lose this one tonight to the Wyoming Cowboys by a score of 71-69. We'll join now the Perspective program from ABC News in progress.